Great. Looks like we're live. Jeremy, take it away.
Thanks, Will. So in the previous two rounds, we told you about the volunteer organizations who are activated by official emergency response teams and their difficulty in managing information in real time to help both the responders and the larger public in a crisis. We also showed early prototypes of the three technology pieces of our system: an immersive visualization environment, a mobile video app for sending live video from the scene of an emergency, and a web tool for volunteers such as those in virtual operations support teams to collaboratively filter those incoming video streams and other relevant data. This round, we discussed use cases and carried out our initial testing primarily with two groups of emergency response personnel. We spoke by telephone several times with the Emergency Services Group in Red Wing, Minnesota, including their police chief and emergency management director. We also visited twice with the Ministry of Public Safety in Quebec, once here in Montreal and another time at their EOC in Quebec City. Their management has given the go-ahead to explore integration of our RTER system into their existing tool set for monitoring and managing emergency situations. From their early testing, the detailed feedback we received from these groups drove the bulk of our development in this round. Roger Hand, Emergency Management Director for the City of Red Wing, wrote us to say, "I can see where this could facilitate communication from the field to the EOC, and in the case where mobile data computers are in use, to them as well. We are even considering a demo for our City Council at a May meeting. They say, pictures are worth 1,000 words, and in an emergency situation, visualizing an event could be critical. I think you guys are on the right track." So as you'll see in our demo video, we now support a decent frame rate for video and have made good progress in getting the latency down from mobile devices to the server. For the next few months, we're really focused on bringing down the latency from the server to the viewer, something we know how to do and which is critical for interactivity. With the most important functionality now in place, we also have big plans for field testing with real emergency users over the next few months and hope to have them participate, perhaps remotely, during a live demo for US Ignite participants in Chicago in June. At this point, let's switch over to the demo video to show you a bit more of what we've done and how the emergency coordinators might use our tools. Then we'd like to have you try out the software yourself. So here we go.
The RTER web client allows emergency responders to collaboratively filter and organize real-time information, including live video, Twitter feeds, and other social media. With RTER, instantly promoting information to your collaborators is as simple as grabbing a tile and dragging it to the top. Importantly, RTER makes live interactive video from mobile users available to emergency response personnel. Because emergency response personnel at Red Wing are already equipped with iPhones, an iOS version of the mobile app is now available. The web client also allows emergency personnel to direct the viewpoint from mobile users in the field, helping to obtain more valuable information to inform their decision-making. We've also responded to the needs of public safety officers in Quebec City, who performed field testing with our system. We've met their requirements for higher frame rates with an HTML5 video streaming pipeline from the phone to the browser. Individuals who need to monitor information do so as part of a team. However, emergency responders, for example in the city of Red Wing, often perform joint operations where local and state emergency response groups must collaborate without losing control of their workspaces. We've tackled this problem with tags that can be added directly by the user or by the system automatically. In RTER, each tag is a workspace in which content is independently organized and ranked. Here, local Red Wing responders have their own workspace under the Red Wing EOC tag, where they can manage information relevant to the city of Red Wing. If they notice something relevant to emergency response personnel at the state level, they can simply tag it to send it to the state level workspace under the state EOC tag. The associated content then shows up right away on the screen of state responders in their own independent workspace. Finally, we realized that to be most effective, RTER must be part of an ecosystem of other tools used by responders. The RTER infrastructure is now built around a RESTful API, just as used by Twitter and YouTube. This means that RTER can easily access data from such external sources. Moreover, the collaboratively filtered data from RTER is available for reuse by third-party sources.
Cool. So are you ready for questions?
Sure.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it looks like really cool stuff. Let's see, my first question was going to be, some of the video is live, some of the video is recorded. And is that right? So the emergency operations center person can sort through the stuff that's been prioritized, and some of it's live, some of it's recorded?
Exactly. And all the video streams, as they're recorded, they're saved there. They're basically archived. So you can go back and refresh and sort of look at segments again, go back to earlier sequences, earlier positions in the timeline. And of course, it's mixed in with static video, such as things from YouTube that are brought in as per the relevance to an emergency situation.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, can you take, say, video from other sources besides an Android or iOS device, that they're already recording? Maybe they have a camera on an intersection or YouTube video or other things, and pull all of those types together, or are there limitations?
Right. So that's what one of the sort of issues we're looking at is tapping into things like street level or highway cameras. That's one of the things we talked about with Red Wing, that they're quite interested in having a stationary camera monitoring a bar in a part of town where there are always these brawls breaking out, and they need to track that. So dealing with other types of video sources for acquisition is definitely one of the items on our to-do list that we would like to get to.
Understand how this fits into the workflow for the emergency responder. This is still a tool that's essentially assisting someone who is then assisting the emergency operations center, like the dispatch. So the firefighter or the police officer doesn't necessarily use this on their device unless they're taking the video, but they're just told, hey, you need to head downtown because there's a problem. Is that the model?
Right. So we really don't view the mobile client as being something necessarily in the hands of the responders who are going out to the scene themselves. Although we can't anticipate what possible use cases could emerge. The web client that you have been playing with, we initially were targeting more for the VOST type community, those virtual operations support teams. But in discussions with the people both in Quebec City and in Red Wing, we see that it's possibly something that is of value to people kind of higher up in the food chain as well, that are dealing with the emergency responses themselves, rather than necessarily relying on the crowdsourced community coming together and giving them those filtering abilities. So it's a kind of pleasant surprise to see that there's perceived utility in the tool that goes beyond just that core population we were focused on initially.
Yeah. Okay. Quick question. What are you asking for specifically in dollar amount, and what's the thing you hope to accomplish with the pilot?
Well, I'd say we probably have several dollar amount breakdowns like we did in the last round that we would ask for. We got less than the minimum that we were hoping for in the last round, so there's still a number of things that we've had to leave aside that we'd like to turn to now. But the key features that we need to deal with now, or the key factors we need to implement for, are to get some more money for debugging. One of the big things we noticed just this morning with Roger Hand, for example, that Firefox version 19 was coming up with blank screens on video, whereas with 20 it works well. So little things like that, catching them, making sure we cope with all the browsers, make it a more solid system for real use by real users, and doing real testing in terms of those actually deployment scenarios and in the field testing that needs to be done in kind of a more meaningful kind of use case. As we do that, we expect that more features are going to be needed by users, and we need to start implementing those to make sure that it's tailored to their specific needs. There are more factors in terms of course, bringing down the latency to the client so that you see that video almost instantaneously, and getting the control for basically scrubbing back the sort of the analogy of the time machine for Mac, where you can really kind of zip back and forth and access different points in the timeline that would bring together not just the video, but the state of the Twitter feeds and a log of all the activity, so that as a new sort of operations person comes onto the staff during a time of a crisis, they can quickly review all that was done and sort of scroll through that timeline. So really valuable tools like that. That's sort of starting at the base and mid-level, and then if we got all that we would ask for, like maybe $50,000 for the next round, we would want to start implementing things like scene change, scene change filtering, so detection from static cameras when something critical has happened, so it could automatically bring that up as a prioritized alert, and starting to tap into some of the crowdsourced tools that we had in mind in the early days of the brainstorm as well.
So you say 50K is the top number, mid-range was, or what would you say?
Well, I'd say 30, 40, 50 sort of levels to deal with these different factors. I mean, targeting of course, the compressed time frame that we're dealing with as well.
Well, hey, I think we're running long, but I want to say, I really appreciate the work of getting this out into the Emergency Operations Center in both Red Wing and Minnesota and in Ottawa. Or no, sorry, Quebec.
Quebec, yeah.
So yeah, very cool stuff.
Great, and if you'd like us to do the editing of that splice again and insert the full quality video, we could do that as well as we did last time, just to give a better quality for the upload.
Sure. And one last thing for the judges is that I got to play with some of the demo stuff myself, and it was really cool before this video. So I'll vouch that some of this stuff actually.
Yeah,
works.
well, we definitely wanted to make sure that you had a chance to try it out, so that there wouldn't be any doubts as to whether this was real. And you can download, of course, the Android APK right from the RTER webpage, or is it from our project page? Okay, it'll be a link there. That we already have it on our main page. We'll put it on the RTR one as well. And the iOS one, because we're doing the distribution right now using TestFlight, just anybody who's one of the emergency people who want to try it out, just let us know their email and we can blast it to them so they can try it as well. But upgrade your phone to iOS 6 so you can try it yourself.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Jeremy and team, for all the work.
All right, pleasure. Thanks.